This is episode 5 of your Untraining. Most people think change is about effort, about goals, about discipline. That's why most people fail. Because you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your identity every time. People try to change behavior from the outside in. They say, I'm going to work out. I'm going to focus. I'm going to stop doing that. And for a while, they do. Until willpower burns out, until life applies pressure, until stress shows up. And then, snap, old behaviors return. Not because they're weak, but because behavior that isn't backed by identity has no structural support. You can't hold a new behavior inside an old self image. Identity is the operating system. Behavior is just an app. You can install new apps all day long, but if the operating system doesn't support it, it crashes. You don't decide who you are in the moment of motivation. You reveal who you are under pressure. And pressure always exposes identity. That's why affirmations fail. That's why hype fades. That's why motivation doesn't last, because identity wasn't trained. Willpower is a finite resource. Identity is automatic. Willpower says, I should do this. Identity says, this is just what I do. One requires effort, the other requires no thought. When action requires willpower, you're swimming upstream. When action matches identity, it happens without friction. You don't force yourself to breathe. You don't motivate yourself to speak your native language because those behaviors are who you are. Repetition over intensity. This is where people mess it up. They think intensity creates change. It doesn't. Repetition does. Identity is trained through what you repeat, not what you feel inspired to do once. You don't become confident from one brave moment. You become confident from consistent exposure to acting before certainty arrives. You don't become disciplined by grinding once. You become disciplined by doing the thing even when it feels boring. Repetition trains identity. Intensity just feels dramatic. Your environment is training you right now. Your phone, your room, your media diet, your calendar, your social circle, they're all reinforcing an identity. Not intentionally, but relentlessly. If your environment supports distraction, your identity becomes someone who struggles to focus. If your environment supports calm, your identity becomes someone who handles pressure. Environment is identity training on autopilot. That's why changing surroundings often changes behavior instantly, not because you tried harder, but because identity cues shifted. Becoming before doing. This is the reversal. You don't act your way into a new identity. You train your identity until action becomes automatic. You don't say, I'll act confident so I become confident. You say, I am the person who moves forward before certainty. And then you repeat small proofs of that identity daily, quietly, without drama. And one day you look back and realize you didn't change, you became. This Untraining series isn't about self improvement, it's about self installation. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your identity. So stop chasing outcomes, train who you are, and everything else follows. What identity are you training right now? intentionally or not? Let me know below in the comments. Take care. Enjoy this day.